don't know how Rocky Lombardi made it to the NFL, but good for him. I hope he does well, but Jesus Christ.
Welcome to better win green, to better win green, to better win green.
Alrighty, guys, welcome into a special episode of Intentional Lounging, brought to you by Better in Green. Wyatt, I am the honorary host today. Typically, Ben would fill this spot. However, we have sent him on assignment to Canton, Ohio, for the Fantasy Football Expo. So he's pretty busy this week. We gave him the night off, but he should be joining us for week 2 of preseason football. So yeah, if you're in the Canton area, go check that out. It's going to be a blast. I wish you and I could have made it there. I think maybe next year we might try to get the entire crew there. Bobby will also be with Ben, so go check that out if you're in the area. Yeah, tonight we're doing a special intentional lounging. We're going to talk preseason week 1, first year that we've been doing this. Why I know you and I have just kind of been talking the last couple of days, saying that we're going to get pretty big into the preseason, maybe more than what we have in the past. Figured we'll might as well record and go over some of our plays and what we like in preseason. So first off, happy to have you here. How you been? How's your summer been? And what are you thinking about this upcoming season?
Yeah, happy to be here as always. Summer's been good. It's been hot, humid. I'm excited for fall weather to hopefully kick around. I am in Virginia, which is a little bit of a later fall than I'm used to in Michigan. But yeah, we just had our college football Power 5 picks episode come out yesterday when you're listening to this. So yeah, I'm just really excited to be talking about college football. And then now NFL football. I know it's preseason, but that's still fine with me. I'll bet it. I'll watch it. Watch the entire Hall of Fame game, even though it got cut short with the weather delay. But yeah, I'm pumped to be talking football. Have been hitting the MLB pretty well, betting wise, but there's nothing like betting football, and I can't wait to get back into the swing of things. And excited to talk about this preseason slate today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, summer's nice. It's been a great summer, but I'm ready for fall. I think at this point, got the hat on already, just ready to get into that fall gear. Football, full swing, college and pro. Best time of the year, if you ask me. But yeah, basically, we're just gonna keep this pretty similar to a typical intentional lounging episode. Obviously, we don't have as much to say on every game, so we're just gonna kind of take it chunk by chunk, kind of breeze through it, and yeah, hopefully it's informative. But we'll just kick right off. First 2 games, Thursday night, which is going to be tonight when you are watching this. We have Detroit at the New York Giants. Line is Giants -3.5, over under 34.5. At the same time, both at 7 Eastern, Carolina Panthers at New England Patriots, -7 for New England, over under 33.5. Wyatt, I'll throw it to you first. Anything you're liking in either of those 2 games?
Yeah, well, the Detroit Giants practice, if you guys have not seen, has been getting very chippy. I can't count the amount of fights they have gotten into. I think it's like 3 or 4 fights. The NFL just came out today. I think they fined both teams $200,000, I believe, is what they came up. So very, very feisty. Giants are a weird team because they kind of have kind of a new identity. They have a lot of talent, and Malik Neighbors, I saw him throwing punches, kind of a cheap shot, honestly, in one of the fights. But they're a pretty talked about team right now. A lot of hype going up into the new season. Then you have the Lions, who obviously we are both Lions fans. Have a lot of expectations. The line at 3.5 is a little weird. I know this game's going to be very chippy, just like the practices. I know there's going to be high emotions with the second, third, and fourth stringer guys. But right off the bat, 3.5 points in favor of the Giants. I think I got to take the Giants here. It is one of my favorite bets on the slip. I'm seeing, again, this is the day before, but I'm seeing 83% of the bets coming in on Detroit spread and 65% on another site coming in on Detroit. So Detroit, according to those 2 sites, is the public team. Giants are still at 3.5 point favorite, which is, again, that BS football number. But I'm going to take a shot on the Giants. They do have Drew Lock at quarterback, Tommy DeVito at quarterback. I like those 2 guys, honestly, better than Hooker and Sudfield for the Lions. So I'm going to go with the Giants in this one. And then I kind of like the second game as well, the Carolina and the Patriots game. I like the Patriots quite a bit at the -7. I'm a little worried just because, again, kind of similar to the Giants, a lot of hype with the Patriots. Obviously, they drafted Drake May. They also have other rookie quarterback, ex-Wolverine, Joe Milton. They got Bailey Zappi. They got Jacoby Brissett. They got 4 very talented preseason quarterbacks, terrible starters, but very talented preseason quarterbacks compared to Carolina, who has Andy Dalton, Lutton, I've never heard of in my life, and then Jake Plummer, the old Purdue guy. So I'm going to go with the Patriots as well at the -7. I like that spread quite a bit. I think Carolina is also the public team in this one. So, 2 of my plays actually are going to be on that Thursday. Again, the Giants and the Patriots, both on the spreads.
Yeah, I agree on one, disagree on the other. But to be honest with you, life is just busy right now as we're getting back into the football swing of things. So I'm kind of going day by day with preseason. So I'll keep it a little bit longer on the Thursday, Friday slate, kind of tail off as we get into Saturday, Sunday. As always, Wyatt and I do tweet out all of our plays on our Twitter. So go over to Twitter, follow us. You'll get all of our official plays over there for free. So, more information coming later in the week. But kind of just want to start out by saying, before I even get into the games, just 4 little, bullet points of what I look for in preseason football. And I think, it can be helpful to look at. Obviously, first, we talk about a lot is quarterback rotations. It doesn't matter if you have Patrick Mahomes against Bryce Young. Does not matter in the preseason. They're not really going to play. It really comes down to the second half of the games, which is why I like the Texans last week. They have a pretty solid preseason QB rotation. I know they were down when that game was canceled, but I did like them heading into the fourth quarter with what they were going to have with a QB matchup. So super important to look at your backup quarterbacks because they are taking majority of the snaps. Secondly, key numbers, a little bit different in preseason just because teams don't want to force overtime. If it comes down to 19-20, late in the fourth quarter, they're going to go for 2 to try to just win the game outright. So the 1s and 2s are a little more keys than the 3s, the 4s, the 7s. And then obviously the totals are quite a bit lower than what we see in regular season. So points are more at a premium. Games tend to end a little bit closer. So I would suggest, if you're -2, -1, I would just money line it because there's a good chance it comes down to a 2-point conversion. You don't want to, have multiple units come down to a 2-point. So that's a recommendation. A third thing that I look for is just injuries. Last thing the team wants is to kind of derail their season early in the preseason with injuries. So especially if you have multiple injuries at the same position, O-line, DBs, receivers, I think they will kind of protect the healthy guys not playing as much. They might start playing guys who they think they're going to cut anyway because it doesn't matter as much. So that's something else I'll look for. And then lastly, I think it's just a good time to look at quotes from coaches and beat writers. They kind of will tell you what they're going to do more so in the preseason than regular season. So they'll sometimes give you the script. I'll talk about that when I get to that Patriots game coming up. But 4 key things that I look for in the preseason. I think it can help throughout the 3 weeks here. But quick getting into the game. Sorry, that was a little bit long-winded. I agree with you on Detroit. I like the Giants -3.5 here. You mentioned the quarterbacks. DeVito and Drew Lock are much more bet on, in my opinion, than Sudfeld and Hooker. I think Hooker's going to get a lot of snaps. I think they want to see what he can do, see if he's worth a roster spot. I hope he balls out, and I hope he becomes a nice trade target. Maybe we can get a mid-round pick for him or just let him marinate behind Goff. But I like the quarterbacks better. Dan Campbell has not been great in the preseason. He doesn't really care. Obviously, he's a huge risk taker in the regular season. Surely he's going to be doing the same thing in the preseason. And you mentioned the money coming in on Detroit. So, yeah, I like the Giants -3.5. I'll probably end up playing that. I also lean the over 34.5 Detroit games. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I think they've gone over like 12 of the last 16 in the preseason with Campbell or something near that number. So lean the over like Detroit or like the Giants, sorry. And then I do lean Carolina +7. I don't think I'm going to bet it just because I'm not crazy about that quarterback room. Not sure if Bryce Young plays at all, or if he does, it's going to be barely at all. I think Andy Dalton is injured. I'm not sure if he goes. That leaves Jack Plummer and Jake Luton, which is why I have to believe New England's getting all the money and all the line move in their favor. What scares me off of New England, they do have a great quarterback room, like you said. Gerard Mayo came out, basically said they're just going to run the ball, play conservative, and he literally said, we aren't game planning Carolina. If they want to game plan us, then do it. But we're just going to kind of see what we have. So that's just, it's hard for me to lay a touchdown when your coach is basically saying, they're not even really playing to win. They're just kind of playing to see what they have. So I would lean Carolina just based off of that. But with that QB room, I can't get behind it. So I'll probably just pass in that game.
I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't see that, but that's crazy in my mind that that's what New England's going to do. Because I think the preseason, if I was in New England, I think the preseason, they have no one on offense. I mean, their offense is god awful. Their best wide receiver, I think, is Polk, the rookie out of Washington, who is fine, but he's their wide receiver room is so bad. There's already talks that Milton's better than their second or third overall pick and Drake May. Seems like the preseason would be a time for them to just sling it around and say, if we lose, we lose. Let's see if our quarterbacks can do anything, because that's good. We already know they're going to run the ball because that's literally all they have. Ramondre Stevenson, who probably won't play in the preseason, but yeah, that's crazy. Thank you for bringing that up because I'm probably I might just take Carolina on the money line. Then there's probably great value on that bet. So this is why we do it. Some of us looked at different research points per game. So I like that. I'm definitely going to flop. I might just sprinkle a Carolina money line and just say F it. But yeah, I like that. Patriots are going to be, I think, one of the worst teams in the league. And the fact that they're just the preseason for the Patriots is their time to figure it out. Whatever. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, I thought so too. And to be honest with you, that's just basically that's as far as I've gone in the coach quotes. Like I mentioned, still a busy time. So I'm going to dig a little bit more on into the beat writers for each team and some press conference clips for the Friday games and beyond. See if I can dig up some more little cookies like that. But yeah, found that really interesting. We'll move on to Friday here. We have 3 games. So we'll just quick touch on those. Starting off, we have the Atlanta Falcons at Miami Dolphins. Miami, a 2.5-point dog, over under 38. At the same time, both again 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the Houston Texans at Pittsburgh Steelers plus 2.5, over under 37.5, and then 7:30 Eastern, Philadelphia Eagles at Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore plus 1, over under 34.5. Anything on those 3?
No bets yet. I will. 2 very interesting things though. There's 2 rules to live by in preseason. One is the quarterback room. Number 2 is bet on the Ravens and bet on the Steelers. Those 2 teams love their preseason. They don't lose, and they're both underdogs in Friday's slate. Very, very weird lines to me. Again, both teams are. It's kind of split actually on DraftKings. Pittsburgh and Baltimore in the 60% on the bets. On Action Network, both teams are at 42%. So I don't really know what the differential in data is there. I would assume that both Pittsburgh and Baltimore would probably be the public team because, again, they are preseason wagons. So it is weird that they're both dogs. That's the biggest thing that I looked at. Also, Miami is a massive betting favorite here. They're 68% on DraftKings, 80% on Action. I kind of like the Falcons. I don't have a bet on it yet. Not a great thing. I'm a little nervous about Atlanta as well because they have a great backup quarterback room. They got Heineke. They obviously have Michael Penix Jr., the worst draft pick of all time. Then they got Rourke, who's a solid backup. Compared to Miami, who has Skylar Thompson and Mike White, who actually, 2 years ago had a pretty good actual regular season, but probably won't touch that game. We'll probably have a game in those fishy lines in Pittsburgh, Houston, and Philly and Baltimore, but nothing on it right now.
Yeah, I don't have much to add on the Atlanta-Miami game. I actually kind of do prefer that Miami quarterback room, but like you said, Miami's public as could be. They actually opened plus 1. They're up to plus 2.5. I think more public money comes in on Friday before the game. So we'll see where the money goes there, but probably won't have a play in that one. I do like the other two games, Houston and Pittsburgh. Yeah, I do think Pittsburgh's going to be public because, like you said, they have a pretty good track record in the preseason, but I think a lot of that has to do with their recent quarterback rooms, which they do have another decent quarterback room this year with Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, which I don't know how much either of those two guys play, Kyle Allen, and then John Reese Plumlee. Yeah, I'm going to have to see what they're looking at doing with Wilson and Fields there, but if those guys don't play much, I would prefer Houston here with Mills, Keenum, Boyle. It's the lineup that we liked in the Hall of Fame game. Didn't get to see that pan out, but that's one of the better QB rooms, in my opinion, for a preseason team here. All of them have starting experience in regular season games. So, yeah, I think I'm going to watch the money in that game, see what Pittsburgh plans on doing with those quarterbacks, but my lean is Houston. And then I actually really like Philadelphia against Baltimore here. Again, at -1, I would just money line it because it could come down to a 2-point conversion. But yeah, Baltimore, I believe they didn't win a game last year in the preseason. Before that, they were an absolute wagon, like 6 years straight. I think, yeah, basically quite a bit of time in the Harbaugh era. But, yeah, I don't think they won a game last year, so they might be a little bit, I guess, undervalued coming in. But I do think people just always think of them as that great team that they once were in the preseason. But again, their quarterback room helped them when they had Lamar Jackson and then two of his clones behind him for years and years. Very athletic, running the ball. Quarterbacks, they don't have that anymore. Lamar obviously is not going to play or won't play much. Josh Johnson, I don't know, he's 45, 50 years old, not really sure, but old as dirt. And then Devin Leary and Emory Jones are their two guys who are going to get most of the work. In Philly, you're going to have Kenny Pickett. I can't even read my own. Tanner McKee and Will Greer. So Pickett obviously has some starting experience. The other two not as much in regular season, but I do like that quarterback room more than I like Baltimore. I think Baltimore is going to end up being very public. So yeah, I'm looking at possibly having a bet on Philly in that one.
Yeah, I'll have something. Like I said, in both those two games, just haven't figured those ones quite out yet. Again, just kind of wanted to point out the weird lines with both Pitt and Baltimore being dogs.
All right, we will move on here to Saturday. We'll just take it two at a time here. We'll start out 12 o'clock Eastern, Washington at New York Jets. Jets +3 over under 34.5. And then at 1 p.m. Eastern, Chicago at Buffalo Bills +1 over under 38. I can start with this one here. Don't have a ton in this game right off rip. I think for the Washington and Jets game, the quarterback rooms, you have obviously Jane Daniels. They're, what was he, second overall? Third overall?
Yeah, one of
top
those.
3 pick. Marcus Mariota. And then after them, you have Jeff Driscoll and Sam Hartman. So I do like the room in Washington. For the Jets, you have Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Travis, who I don't believe will suit up after his pretty serious injury at Florida State last year. And then some dude I've never heard of, last name Peasley, don't have his first name written down. And then Adrian Martinez, who I loved him at K-State. I loved him when Detroit picked him up a couple years ago, and then he's been an absolute dog in the UFL. I believe he was an MVP in the UFL. So, I kind of like that quarterback room as well. But I think they're going to protect Tyrod with Aaron Rodgers' history of injuries, especially last year. So, I don't know. I would lean Washington in this one just based on that quarterback room. It did open as a pick-em. Washington has moved to a 3-point favorite, even though the Jets have 82% of the money from what I'm seeing. So, big reverse line movement. I think I like Washington. And then I would lean Chicago. I don't love this one, though, because since Chicago did have that first game, I just never know if that's a positive or a negative. I really want to fade Caleb Williams in his first game of action, but I just can't do it with Buffalo. They're going to have Trubisky and then Shane Buechele. Don't know how much Trubisky is going to play, maybe a quarter and a half, maybe 2. Don't know who that Bouchel guy is, so don't love that game. I would lean Chicago, but I do want to fade Caleb Williams.
Yeah, kind of clueless, honestly, for both these two games. I kind of like the over in Washington and the Jets at the 34.5. Again, Adrian Martinez, I believe he was at Nebraska to start, then K-State, then Detroit, and like you said, the CFL or UFL, whatever they're calling it now. I just think there's a lot of offense there. You got Marcus Mariota, Hartman, Driscoll for Washington. I think those guys can throw the ball around, can score. I know the Jets are notorious for their defense, but you have to remember these are not starters playing. These are second, third, possibly even practice squad guys. So I just think there's too much offense there. So I would lean the over in that game. When it comes to which team to pick, nothing for you right now. I am seeing the Jets are a little bit of the public team, like you mentioned, the reverse line movement in favor of Washington. But yeah, I don't have a great lean in that game. Then I'm kind of baffled at the Chicago Buffalo game. Was kind of expecting Chicago to be the very public team, especially with that week 1 or week 0 preseason win in the Hall of Fame game, and Chicago just being Chicago. We saw it before Caleb Williams was even there last year. One of the most bet on teams. Again, Better in Green's play of the year with Chicago to not make the playoffs. It was a no sweat bet. They were pretty much done at week 8. But they're always a public team. Now they got Caleb Williams. Now they got Keenan Allen. Now they got who's the wide receiver? Odunze. Just I don't know. I don't know why they are not the public team as of right now. I'm seeing Buffalo is getting 63% of the bets. So that's a little mind-boggling to me. I really wanted to fade Chicago in this game. So because of that weird line and betting percentages, I'm going to stay away as of right now. Yeah, don't got much for you. I like you said, I really want to fade Caleb Williams, but it's kind of telling me that Chicago's the play. But probably will just pass on that game because I refuse to bet on Chicago. And they're kind of like my Michigan State or my Ohio State in college football. I refuse to bet Chicago. I can't stand those guys. And so I'll probably just stay away in that game or take a total, but nothing's screaming at me at the moment.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, we do tweet out all of our plays. So obviously the public is going to come in on the day of the games. No public better is betting preseason 2-3 days in advance. So again, follow us on Twitter. As we see the money come in, that's really where you and I like to make a lot of our plays is we follow the line moves and the money. So be sure to follow us there. And then also guys, just quick, take a minute, like this video. It really does help us, helps the algorithm on YouTube. And if you can throw us a subscribe as well. If you aren't subscribed already, we really do appreciate that. Also, I'm just going to pivot. I'm just going to do one game at a time. I feel like it's just getting a little long-winded, so we'll just quick touch on one game at a time and kind of blow through them that way. But next game up, we do have 4 p.m. Eastern, Las Vegas Raiders at Minnesota Vikings. Vikings plus 3.5, over under 39. Anything you're liking in this one?
I'm leading the Raiders quite a bit. It hurts me to bet against JJ, but again, I think the Vikings are a little bit of a popular team, especially you got JJ McCarthy drafted this year. You got Sam Darnold. You got Mullins. You got Hall as the other 2 backups. The Raiders have 4 second-string quarterbacks, and they're trying to pick one to start the regular season. Minshew and O'Connell are going to be the 2 top dogs there, but public is already on Minnesota. I would lean the Raiders. Don't love it enough to bet it right now.
Yeah, it's a pass for me here. I do like that Minnesota quarterback room quite a bit. All of them, with the exception of McCarthy, have starting experience in regular season. But yeah, the line's fishy. I'm not really sure what we're getting out of Las Vegas. Minnesota is pretty abysmal in the preseason too. I believe they're 0-9 in their last 3 seasons in the preseason. I think they've only covered a game or 2. So I can't bet on Minnesota without seeing something better out of them. So pass for me in that game. Next up, we do have 4:25 start time again on Saturday. Green Bay Packers at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland 3.5 point favorites, over under 39.5. Anything that's sticking out in that game?
Yeah, I think Cleveland's going to be the new Ravens, the new Steelers in the preseason, especially this year. You got Huntley, DTR, and Jameis Winston for the Browns. Three very capable quarterbacks. We already saw DTR start a couple games last year. We've already seen Huntley in the preseason at the Ravens, and then Jameis Winston is just a goofball. But I think Cleveland's going to be the team in the preseason. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 3-0. So if you want to just keep taking a money line, double down money line every week, I say go all for it. So I like Cleveland quite a bit.
Yep, completely agree. That might be the best quarterback room overall. It's up there if it isn't the best. Yeah, like you said, Huntley is a preseason MVP. That dude's a beast. DTR, Jameis. I really like that quarterback room. Not the Green Bay's isn't good as well. I doubt Love plays, especially on that new contract. But Sean Clifford, Michael Pratt, both decent, but they just don't have the starting experience that Jameis and Huntley do. And DTR also started a few games as well. So I'm also seeing Green Bay, a short public favorite, 59% is what I'm seeing, but they did open +2.5. They're up to +3.5. So slight reverse line movement. I think I'm going to get in on Cleveland soon, probably tonight. I think they'll probably go off maybe -5. So at 3.5, I like Cleveland. I think that's a pretty good quarterback room for them. Next game up, Saturday night, we have 7 p.m. Eastern again. There's 3 games kicking off at 7 p.m., but we'll start off with Kansas City at Jacksonville. The Jags are a 1-point favorite, over under 40.5. What are you liking in that one?
Yeah, not a whole lot. This is the highest total on the board the entire weekend at 40.5 is the line currently, I believe. So not exactly sure why the line's so high. Maybe because Jaguars got Mac Jones, Chiefs got Wentz. I'm just trying to figure out where the points are going to come from. So I'm a little hesitant because I think the under is the smart move, but in the betting world, I think the over might be the play because it's that high for some reason that I'm not understanding. But yeah, don't love this game. It's pretty much a pick 'em. You said -1 on the spread for Jacksonville. I'm going to pass as of right now. If I do have a bet on this game, it will be some sort of play on the total.
Yeah, I lean Jacksonville. I do like Mac Jones and CJ Beathard more than I like Wentz, who I doubt plays much because he is a very viable backup, and I think they don't want to risk losing him. Alodakun is their third stringer, and then Ian Book. So just don't love those two. They're probably getting 3/4 of play, if not more. Yeah, I prefer Mac Jones and CJ Beathard over them. Kansas City 65% as of now is what I'm seeing. Lean Jacksonville. We'll keep an eye on it. Might end up getting there on them. Next game, another 7 o'clock. San Fran at Tennessee. Titans -4.5. Over under 38.5. This game did open with San Fran +4. They are getting 74% from what I'm seeing, and it's up to +4.5. So a little bit of reverse line movement. Again, I would lean Tennessee just simply based on the quarterback room here. Again, I do have to dig a little bit deeper into some of the other things that I'm looking into, but Will Levis, Mason Rudolph, and Malik Willis, especially Malik Willis as that third stringer. When he gets playing against third string defenses, he's going to be able to make plays on his feet like he did in college. And that's super valuable, in my opinion, in the preseason when you get a guy late in the game, late third, early fourth quarter that can make plays with his feet. It's very hard for defenses to stop. The Niners do have a decent room with Dobbs, Brandon Allen, and then Tanner Mordecai. But yeah, I like Willis against that third string defense. The reverse line movement, we'll see. 4.5 points is a lot, but I do like Tennessee.
Yeah, I like Tennessee as well. I don't hate the Tennessee Titans Browns moneyline parlay possibly in there. I have a hard time seeing both these teams lose. Also, similar reverse line movement in both those games. Kind of like the under in this. I don't think San Fran's going to do a whole lot. I think they're going to run a lot of clock, run the ball. Tennessee is going to be doing. This is Tennessee's Super Bowl, to be completely honest. They have the preseason is where they're really going to thrive, which is what the Patriots should do, but they're not. But anyways, whatever. Yeah, Tennessee. Their quarterback room is built for the preseason, like you just mentioned. I think they're going to be a pretty solid preseason team. So I would lean them in this game as well. Do like the under. I don't think San Fran's going to do a whole lot.
I'll probably end up getting on Tennessee. I do like that money line parlay you mentioned too. Next up, the last 7 p.m. Eastern start time, Tampa Bay at Cincinnati. Bengals minus 4.5, over under 38.5. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit on the line. I'm assuming the Bengals are such heavy favorites because Browning played a majority of the year last year with Joe Burrow out. Woodside, I've never heard of that guy. Rocky Lombardi, your ex Michigan State Spartan and Northern Illinois Husky. But I guess the line's like that because of Browning. But again, he's a very viable backup. So I don't know how much he's going to play. I don't trust Rocky Lombardi at all. And again, I am not really sure who Woodside is. Tampa Bay, not great. You got Kyle Trask, Wolford, and then never heard of this guy, Annexstad or whatever. But yeah, I'm struggling with that line. Again, it's the line's always funky for a reason, not as much in the preseason as the regular season, but it's funky. I would lean Tampa, but I think that might be a little bit of a square play.
I'll just keep it short here. It's a complete pass for me. Don't know how Rocky Lombardi made it to the NFL, but good for him. I hope he does well, but Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's all I got. It's a complete pass in that game. That line sucks. Next game up, 7:05 Eastern start. Seattle Seahawks at the LA Chargers. Chargers +2. With your Michigan coach making his second stint NFL debut. Over under 35. I'll throw it to you first. What are you thinking about in this game?
Yeah, it's got to be Seattle, unfortunately. Jim's going to have a tough go at it this year. The futures are really weird. Like I said, I can't tell if the Chargers win total on the regular season is super square, super sharp. I don't know if it's square because you're riding Jim Harbaugh or if it's sharp because the Chargers have absolutely no one and the line should not be that high. But in regards to preseason, I mean, Seattle just has a better room. Sam Howell, you can talk shit all you want about him. He did his best at Washington with the worst offensive line in the country, offensive line in the country. PJ Walker, we saw him quite a bit last season. Very solid quarterback, especially a backup. And the Chargers just, I mean, Bauman, Duggan, and Stick. Easton Stick is their best backup there, but also what's his face? Herbert is having some injury problems as well. Not super major, but they also might want to keep Stick healthy because Duggan and I don't know much about this Bauman guy. They don't really have what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. So yeah, I think it's and the Chargers are public. So I like Seattle quite a bit. It's probably my third or fourth favorite bet on the board.
Yeah, you basically took every word out of my mouth. I guess that's what happens when we go on 3 years of doing this. But yeah, Seattle, it's second or third favorite bet on the board for me. Maybe number one. I like Seattle. Another one that I'll probably bet tonight. Them and Cleveland are my top two. Love PJ Walker. Just goes right in hand with what I was saying about Malik Willis, a mobile guy who can make defenses, cause defenses problems late in the game. Yeah, Easton Stick, Dugan, don't know anything about Bauman. Yeah, I like the quarterback room a lot in Seattle, public LA. Everything you just said is, I just second that. So I like Seattle quite a bit. And then our nightcap for Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, New Orleans Saints at Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals -1, over under 36.5. Anything sticking out in this one?
I kind of really like the over in this one. This is probably my favorite total in the preseason week one. It's at 36.5 on DraftKings. Arizona has a lot to prove, a lot of expectations. Again, Marvin Harrison probably not playing. I would assume maybe a series or two. The Cardinals now have Desmond Ritter. They got Toon, who started a couple games last year, and then the Saints. You got Rattler, and then Hayner. Don't know a whole lot about them. But Saints and the Cardinals are kind of in the same boat for the regular season. They have no expectations, a lot to prove. Like I don't know. I have a lot of. I just think they're going to be chucking the ball around both preseason and regular season. I like the over quite a bit. Both defenses are ass. I just think this is going to be a high scoring game where they just don't really care. They're going to test out who they got and just roll with it. So over, it's probably my favorite play in that game.
Yeah, I don't hate that play. Yeah, I don't love this game. I would lean Arizona simply because of the quarterback room in New Orleans. Obviously, Derek Carr probably not going to play much. I'm seeing Hayner is questionable. That leaves Spencer Rattler and Taysom Hill, which I don't think Taysom's going to get a whole lot of time. He's a pretty big piece of that offense in the regular season, so there's not much going on there. They might want to kind of protect the quarterbacks that they have at this point. We'll have to see what they're going to do with Hayner. I mean, if he's a go, then he can split up a couple drives with Carr, maybe. Then it'll work out. But if Hayner doesn't play, I mean, I don't really know what you're going to do. So no play in that game. I would lean Arizona. Don't hate your over. And then lastly, just two games on Sunday. 1 p.m. Eastern is the first game here. Denver Broncos at Indianapolis Colts. Colts +1 over under 38. I'm seeing Colts as the most public side in the preseason week 1. What are you liking in that one?
Yeah, that I'm seeing that too. 91% or 93% I'm seeing on a couple sites. And there's still a dog at +1. I don't know. It's a weird matchup because I do think Denver. I kind of want to fade Denver because they do have Zach Wilson now, Bo Nix, and Jarrett Stidham. But I mean, I just don't really know what the Colts are going to do. I don't know why people are so high on them. I mean, you got Richardson, who's not going to play because he's made out of paper. You got Bean, who I believe is that Kansas dual threat quarterback. Ellinger, the old Texas quarterback. You got Joe Flacco, who talk about old, is on his deathbed. And then Slovis, don't really know this gentleman at all. I've heard of him, but don't really know him. So they're deep, I guess, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to fade Denver, but I think I'm going to have to jump on them. I will have a bet in this game because I am looking forward to watching this, seeing if Bo Nix starts or Zach Wilson. I mean, Denver's going to be an absolute shit show this entire regular season, but especially in the preseason. So I really wanted to fade Denver, but I think with the line, I have to back them in this game.
Yeah, did Slovis, was he that Kentucky quarterback? Am I wrong?
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. Again, I'll just have to see where we're at on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, I can't play Indy when I'm seeing 93% on them. So, I mean, when the public's that heavy, I just can't jump in. But it is a pretty enticing quarterback room. Yeah, Richardson, like you said, made a paper. He's not playing. Flacco's not going to play. I mean, God, he's in his 27th year. Doesn't need another preseason game. Then, yeah, you got two young guys and Ellinger. So, yeah, I do like Jason Bean with the athleticism late, but I also think Denver, obviously, um, that quarterback room is really all up in the air for who starts, who's second string, who's first or third. So yeah, I think we could get some ample opportunity out of all three of those guys. I think they can all play. So yeah, I would lean Denver, but we'll see. We'll see what I'm feeling on Sunday morning.
Yeah. Sorry, let me butt in one more time. I forgot. Kind of like the under in this game. Seems like this is a very clear offensive heavy game. Again, three solid quarterbacks on Denver, capable quarterbacks on Indy. I kind of like the under. It seems like a little too much offense. It seems like people are going to be jumping on points in this game. So as of right now, if a gun to my head, I would say instead of picking a spread, I would take the under in this game. But again, my mind's going to change about 50 different times between now and Sunday morning.
And then our last game, preseason week 1, we do have the Dallas Cowboys at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams +4 over under 35. This is a 4 p.m. start Eastern. What are you thinking in SoFi Stadium?
Yeah, well, with it being the last game on Sunday, the last game of week 1 preseason, hopefully I'm up a couple units. So I don't have to bet this game because I have no freaking idea. But knowing me, probably going to be down a little bit. So I'll probably have to throw something and chase. Yeah, I didn't know Jimmy G was on the Rams either. I guess he's there. I guess Stetson Bennett's reincarnated. I thought he was in some sort of trouble or rehab. And then they got Wynn. Dallas, you have Trey Lance and Cooper Rush. Shout out Cooper. He's Central Michigan. He's a career backup, and he's probably doing pretty well financially for himself. Yeah, I don't know. Dallas is not a preseason team. They don't care about the preseason. They never care about the preseason. I don't know why they're -4. I'll probably take the Rams in this game, even though they are a slight public team. I can't back Dallas in the preseason.
Yeah, I'm the same. I can't take either side, to be honest with you, because I can't bet or back the Rams in the preseason either, because neither of these coaches care. I doubt Jimmy G plays. He is recovering from injury, and Stafford is getting up there. So I think they want to protect Jimmy G at all costs. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of Stetson Bennett, a lot of Dresser win, which I do think Stetson's going to do okay in the NFL. But yeah, I don't know. I would lean Dallas, like you mentioned with Cooper Rush, a career backup. Plays great when he gets his chance. And then Trey Lance, obviously, everyone knows about his career. He would love to put on a showcase in the preseason and maybe get a chance to start somewhere else. So I would lean Dallas, but I can't play it. I would be curious to maybe look at the over in this game. I think, again, Trey Lance being the mobile guy that he is could cause some issues for the Rams defensively late in the game. Don't know much about this Dresser win guy, but yeah, I think Dallas could put up some points in this one, maybe mid-20s. Wouldn't need much from the Rams. So, again, we'll see how Sunday's feeling. Like you, I hope I'm up multiple units at this point, so I can either throw a unit on it for fun and not really care, or just skip. But yeah, that's what I'm feeling for a Wednesday night for a Sunday preseason game.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Full slate of preseason. I know it doesn't really matter. These games, win or loss, does not matter. It does for us since we're betting it. But yeah, I'm just excited to talk football. But like you said, I just want to reiterate, our minds will change from now. This is our initial thoughts. Please, please, please make sure you follow us on Twitter. If you do want our plays, either tail or fade, probably just want to move there. I am on a heater, but our usernames are right below our picture here. So please follow us on Twitter for our official plays. We also do have our fantasy draft guide out on Better and Green. It's still 50% off. We're doing an expo discount, so you can get that for just $10. You can also check out our 2023 draft guide. It's out there for free, so you can kind of see what you're buying. But yeah, super pumped for football, even if it is preseason. Can't wait for the regular season. And hopefully we can win some money week 1 preseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out that draft guide. And Wyatt, great point. Go check out the 2023 draft guide. It's literally free. It does not hurt you at all to take 5 minutes. Check that out. If you like what you're seeing there, 2024 is even way better. Wyatt, you put in great work on that. Ben, the mastermind behind the guide, puts in an incredible amount of work into that throughout the summer, and then Bobby as well, helping out there. So yeah, you guys really killed that guide. 2024 is 10 times better than 2023 was, and that's a fantastic guide in itself. So check that out. It's only $10. Fantasy football drafts are ramping up right now as we speak. So check that out. And then, yeah, guys, again, follow us on Twitter. We'll tweet out all of our plays, not only in the preseason, but Wyatt and I are both pretty active in the Olympics, active in baseball still, and then some other odd and end sports here and there. So check us out there. Again, please like and comment on this video. Let us know if you have any plays in the preseason where you agree, where you disagree. Would love to know. We'll interact with you there in the comments. And then please, please, please subscribe if you have not already. But Wyatt, thanks for joining. Hopefully we come out profitable in week 1 preseason, something a little bit newer for us. And guys, we should be back with the full squad, with Ben back as the host, what he does best, in next week's week 2 preseason episode. Thanks, guys.
You better start listening to the Better and Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover old spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. better win green.